So if anyone has any questions, you can leave them in the chat. I'm joined by Sarah Anderson, who's the founder of Joyful Hire. She's going to talk about resilience and the job search roller coaster, which it's been quite a roller coaster over the last 15 months, I guess we're at. So I'm really looking forward to this presentation. I mean, we are trying to help people kind of navigate as best as possible, but things are so, like you're saying, up and down like a roller coaster that it's hard to know what's happening tomorrow. So really happy that you could be here to share this with us. Sarah Anderson, with a passion of supporting job seekers as they chase their career goals, has made her career as a dynamic and spirited certified resume strategist, job search coach, and mentor. Like many job-seeking professionals today, Sarah's career path has been nonlinear, spanning everything from holistic nutrition to technical recruitment, training and development, and community management. Wow, that's quite the diverse background, but it's awesome. It takes a while to figure out what you want to do, right? And how to, I don't think we ever truly know either. We've got a lot of different experiences in our life. So really looking forward to your presentation, and I'll be back towards the end to help with any questions.
All right, perfect. Great. Thank you so much, Rachel. And thank you everybody for coming. I'm super excited to be here. Hello, thank you. Hello, thanks so much for all of you to be here. I'm so excited. I guess we'll just jump on in. Hello, everybody, as you join in. Perfect. Okay, great. So as Rachel mentioned, we're going to be talking about resilience on the job search roller coaster today. So I think that just with everything going on in this past year, this is a great time to start talking about this. So why don't we just dive on in? And, before we get started, if anyone has any questions, please pop them into the chat and I'll do my best to answer them as we go. If not, I'll try to save them for the end. All right. Perfect. Okay, so resiliency in the job search. So just getting started, I wanted to open things up with this really great quote that I found that I just think really encompasses what I want to talk about today. Okay, so life's challenges are not supposed to paralyze you. They are supposed to help you discover who you are. Okay, so I just really think that this is something great to start off with. So here we go. Again, just a little bit of an introduction about me. So I am Sarah. I am a certified resume strategist. Thank you so much, Rachel, for that awesome introduction. Really what I spend my time doing is I help job seekers communicate their value using a strengths-based narrative approach to land meaningful work joyfully. As we all know, and we're going to talk about soon, that the roller coaster of job search, it's not all rainbows and butterflies. There are some challenging pieces in there that I'm hoping that we'll be able to address today. Okay, so, what is resilience anyways? What does it have to do with my job search? How does it help me with my resume? How does it help me prepare for my interviews? Why is this important? Why are we talking about it? So I've thrown up, obviously, a couple of definitions about what resilience actually means. And so I just wanted to focus on that for a second. So the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. Toughness, or the ability of a substance or object or person to spring back into shape, this idea of elasticity. Okay, so again, resiliency, we're going to talk about that soon, it's a key factor in your career longevity and in your overall mental health. Simply put, resiliency is the process of coping and adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or serious stress. Okay. And as it mentioned there, it also means bouncing back when things are difficult, unpleasant, or we're facing challenging circumstances or going through difficult experiences. And as I mentioned before, it's fair to say that this past year has been one of the most unpleasant situations I'm sure many of us had dealt with. A lot of people have been displaced. A lot of people have been laid off. There's a lot of demand for competition for a little bit, fewer roles. And so I thought this would be a great time to talk about how we can support ourselves to navigate these turbulent times. Okay, so here we go. All right, so here's this job search roller coaster that I've been talking about. So just take a quick peek at that. I really think this is a great visual of just the cycle of emotions that a person can expect to go through after they've experienced job loss. Okay, not all job loss is planned. Some of it is planned, some of it's a surprise. And, while we go through these ups and downs, you can see that in some places there are some bigger highs and valleys there. So, job loss and the subsequent job search, as I mentioned, not all rainbows and butterflies. You're going to experience, you start off feeling maybe shocked, anger, this is a surprise to you, you didn't know what was going to happen. Then fear and anxiety starts to intensify, okay? And then we move back a little bit up as your spirit picks up when we start getting, we're anticipating the new things that are coming up, new opportunities. You start your job search, you're feeling empowered. And then as time goes on, we start to feel those different things. We get unsure. The longer the timeline goes on, the more emotions that we end up feeling and experiencing. And really why I wanted to show this is because I want to really normalize these experiences. It's difficult. We've talked about job searching. It can be a job in and of itself. It can take time. And the longer that goes, the more you can feel like, what's wrong with me? Why am I not getting any interest? And again, I just really want to normalize those feelings because we're going to talk about, again, how we can build the skills to help combat these turbulent times and really build up and empower ourselves for career longevity, not just in the job search. Okay. So here we go. There are 5 core traits that contribute to resilience. Okay, so we're going to spend some time talking about each one of these and how honing in on these characteristics or traits can actually help you cultivate resiliency in your life and will help you to be more prepared when difficult and challenging things come up. Because let's face it, they're going to come up. So the better off we can be prepared, the more successful and more empowered we're going to feel. Okay, so the first one that I want to talk about is flexibility. So we've all heard that old saying that change is the only constant, and that is true, okay? It also applies to the working world. It's not just, a saying that we have. It's there for a reason. It's been said for a reason. And so being able to adapt to change is essential in being able to stay employable and successful, okay? And so we often get this idea that, adaptability and flexibility, what's kind of the difference there? And adaptability is actually talking more about the behavior, and flexibility is a little bit more being open to new experiences, okay? And so adaptability and flexibility are not always linked together, okay? Because we have to adapt to both positive and negative experiences. So you may not need as much adaptability when it's something positive. So again, we want to focus on this idea of flexibility because it's really important that you have this openness to change, a mindset that, lets go of those rigid ideas that, this is the way that things need to be done. And, this is the way that I've always done things. And so I'm going to continue. Well, again, we want to make sure that by being flexible and being open to new experiences, you can really, the world just opens up. Doors just start to open. Being openness to experiences will really start to push the path forward. When you're open, you can recognize that there's more than one way forward. And I think that, my job experience and my nonlinear career path is a great example of that. There's not one way of doing things. We often compare ourselves to other people's milestones of success, and that can make us feel, disheartened and maybe a little bit like we're doing something wrong. Okay, so again, but sometimes what we do deal with is negative. So again, the pandemic is a perfect example. It forced us to change in some ways, and the way that we do things. And, for some of us, we didn't really want to change those things. But the more we embrace them, the easier it is to do it. And that's where resiliency comes in, okay? So in addition to all of that, flexibility is also a trait that employers are looking for, okay? It's a very, very sought after trait in the marketplace, especially as the marketplace becomes more increasingly globalized, okay? We're networking in different ways. We're working in different ways with people that are further away from us than ever. So we're getting used to these different scenarios, and it's a new reality that we've all had to really just kind of go with the flow. The more we fight it, the more difficult it is. So that's just a little bit about flexibility, and we're going to tie them all together as we go through. Okay, so curiosity. Curiosity is one of my favorite things to talk about, so I'm really excited to share this with you all. When you're curious about what's going on, you're engaged, you're learning, you're expanding your horizons, you're making new connections, you're seeing possibilities that maybe you didn't see before or you haven't noticed. Okay, it's a great way to stay competitive and to demonstrate to employers that you are a lifelong learner who takes a creative approach to problem solving. So as a result, being curious can help you think of and see creative possibilities. And you can also link that to what your passion is, okay? Again, your life is going to change 100 different times in 100 different ways. So do not be afraid to embrace new situations. Try different things. Be interested, stay curious. Something that I like to talk about is, when it comes to curiosity, is career experiments. Okay, your career is going to continue to evolve over time. So be in tune with yourself. The more you understand what you bring to the table, what you like to do, what you want to learn, what you want to contribute to an organization or to your community, these are all different ways that you can start to experiment with different things. You know, that whole idea of going to school and getting a job and that being your job for years at a time is not really something that we see as often anymore. So, you know, when opportunities arise, I really want to encourage you to just jump at the chance. Whether it's paid work or volunteer work, getting involved with your community, whether it's academic endeavors, anything like that, being curious and opening your mind will help lead you to new possibilities. And so one thing that I want to focus here is, you know, using curiosity as a passion compass. So using it to help direct you. So when you let go of the need to identify, well, I want to do what I'm passionate, you know, that can be really hard if you're passionate about a lot of things, or if you're not really sure what you're passionate about. So if we kind of stop, pause, and reverse, you know, let your curiosity be the guide. Trying new things will help you find what you're passionate about. And that's really powerful. So when we're curious, we're learning, okay? And so when you're applying to a job where your experience is different, or you're looking for an experience in a different city, you know, think about the ways that you can gain experience for yourself, okay? All right, let's move on. All right, persistence. This is a big one, and I think this is one that really we've had to really learn in the last couple of months of the pandemic. You know, in a competitive landscape, career success does not happen overnight, and this is something that I really want to focus on, okay? When I'm working with clients and we're talking about job search strategies or networking strategies, you know, people will often say to me, it's just, well, I've reached out to this person and I'm not getting any traction. It doesn't seem to be working. You know, I'm trying to build up a network and it's taking a lot longer than I thought it would. And so what I like to say is, I like to use the analogy that, you know, networking strategies and job search strategies are like planting seeds in a garden, okay? It takes time. You really have to tend to it, you know, water it every day. You're coming back to it. It's not just a plant and walk away and then here I come to a beautiful garden. No, it takes time and it takes effort in order for things to be successful. But when you do that, when you're putting in those constant little pieces of effort, you know, you can really cultivate something beautiful and fruitful, okay? So just, I want you to remember that the day you plant the seeds is not the same day that you eat the fruit. And a friend told me that, and that is such, it just really stuck with me. And I believe that she's here today. So shout out to Valerie Lee for giving me that wonderful quote. But it just really resonated, and I think it fits really well here. So again, you know, you really have to nourish your strategy if you want to flourish in this world, okay? Again, the longer your job search goes out, as we saw in that roller coaster, you know, the more frustrating it can feel, the more disheartening and discouraging it can feel. So just trust yourself, trust the process. You know, job searches can take months. The more senior the position, the longer the search you can expect. And again, we're dealing with a lot of competitive roles out there right now. So, you know, it's going to take some time, and I just want to normalize that things are not going to be happening, you know, right off of the bat and just start popping up here and there. I mean, they might, and if that happens, that's great, but you know, prepare yourself for the long haul. The more effort and time you put into your search, the more rewarding you're going to be able to, the more rewards you're going to be able to reap from that. Okay, and again, just a reminder that, you know, just because you can't see the process happening does not mean that it's not happening. Okay, so again, going back to the seeds, you know, seeds are planted underground. You can't see them germinating. You can't see what's happening under there. You're not going to dig them up every day to just see, are you working? Is it growing? That's not what's going to happen, okay? You have to trust the process, trust your capability, and just keep trying. One step after the other is really all we're after here. And so something that I like to do with my clients to help them in this area is to plan your job search like you would a project. Okay, the more you're able to track, who did I reach out to this week? What connections can I, leverage here? Who do I know? Who knows me? Okay, these are all things. Start to organize your plan so that way it's a lot easier to see, what strategies are working and what are not working. Where can I improve? Does this kind of messaging resonate with people I'm trying to get informational interviews with? If not, then you might need to adjust your strategy. And again, that's okay. There's a lot of the time, there's no hard and fast rules. But at the end of the day, you're dealing with other people. So just keep that in mind as you're trying to build that out. But again, I really find that it's helpful to plan it kind of like a project, and you've got little deliverables for yourself to keep things going so that every day you can make small efforts, small steps forward to help you reach your goals. Okay. So next here, optimism. Okay. So again, we've talked about this. The career planning and job search process, while it can be very time consuming, it also comes with its own set of unique frustrations. But being able to approach that with a positive attitude can really help you stay motivated. Especially, again, the longer the job search, the harder it is to stay motivated. And we've heard this idea of taking survival jobs. Okay, this has come up a lot when I'm talking to job seekers, and there's no shame in taking a survival job. Sometimes we just need to do what we need to do, and there's no shame in that. But if it's something that you're not really wanting to do, so let's say you're working at a fast food restaurant because that's the only work that you could find. Again, don't focus on what's lacking. Don't focus on what's not there. Focus on what is there. What are you gaining out of this experience? Because every experience comes with a lesson, and if you're able to look for it. Okay, so it may not be in your preferred field, but actually it's helping you, it might help you to attain the soft skills that you need, and those are transferable. You can take those transferable skills from one job to the next job. So, really make sure that you're paying attention. There is value in every opportunity out there. You just have to be able to look for it. Okay, so again, optimism leads to empowerment. This is something that I really, really believe in. And the reason for this is because optimists generally expect good things to happen when they face challenges or come up against challenges, because they believe that their behavior actually matters. They believe the action that they're taking matters and will eventually affect change. Okay, so optimism can also be very helpful in the interview process because it makes you feel more likable. When we're cheerful, when we're happy, we're more likely to be engaged. We're more likely to connect with other people. And that's a really great thing. It just, that energy exudes from you. So the most hopeful aspect that comes out of optimism research that I've been able to find is that it's our mindset is malleable. Okay, so just like you're going to the gym and you're training, you're working out your muscles, the same thing with your mindset. Okay, we can work on it to strengthen it. And I think that's one of the most hopeful things that I can share with you today is that your mindset is not merely a result of your genes or your upbringing. It is, but by focusing on your attention to the positive, meaningful parts of your life and your work, your personal strengths, being in tune with what you're good at and what you're not good at. Scientifically, we can retrain our brain to think differently about this. And that helps us in the face of challenges. So overall, being positive affects your performance. So whether it's in a survival job or whether you're in a job search, whether you're changing careers, a sunny disposition can go a long, long way. And if you need help being positive, here's something that I like to do and something that I like to tell people. I keep a little positivity folder either on my phone or on my computer. And so every time I get a nice message from someone, I like to take a screenshot and just dump it into the folder so that when I'm having a super crummy day or I'm feeling like, oh, that was tough, I don't know if this is going to work out, I don't know if I've got the skills, I always go back to that folder and I can see, this is what people have been saying to me about me. And it can be really motivating to just have those little reminders. So I would encourage you all to try out a positivity folder. Okay. Next, risk-taking. Okay, and I'm not talking about rash decisions here. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about calculated risk-taking. okay? We know that putting yourself out there can be scary. It's scary. It's scary being here in front of you all right now. But however, having the courage to overcome that fear takes risks, and it is rewarding, let me tell you, okay? And with risk taking, it's important to know that there is no such thing as failure, okay? If you achieve your goal, the risk paid off. If you don't, you have the opportunity to look back and assess the risk you took and figure out what you can do differently and try again. So that's what I mean when I say lessons, not failure. There's always something that we can take away. So if you are not taking chances, at all, you might lose out on an exciting job opportunity, promotion, meeting a new person who could really help you in your career. The excitement of growth, meeting new people and seeing things differently can only really come when you take a chance. And usually that chance you're taking is on yourself, okay? So here I've left on the screen a question: what would you do if you weren't afraid? And this is something that I just thought was super powerful. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Would you reach out to that person on LinkedIn? Would you talk at an event? Would you start sharing your work? Would you start going live on Instagram? Whatever it is for you, what would you do if you weren't afraid? And I just want you to keep that in your mind, because no matter what your answer is, you have now identified a key area in your life where you can take a risk. It's a concrete example of something that you want to do, but the fear of the risk is holding you back. So asking yourself this question will help you focus in on a particular area, while also getting you to think more positively about the rewards that are happening. And so something that I see a lot in my line of work is, people who hold themselves back from applying to jobs because of this fear that they don't have all of the qualifications, and I just want to say, please don't do that. If you don't self-disqualify from opportunity, okay? It's time that you reframe the way that you think about what value you have and what that means to other people, okay? So, this is something that women tend to do more often than men, is they tend to, if they don't meet 100% of the job requirements, they're less likely to apply. Whereas men will apply around 60% when they meet the requirements of about 60%. So again, don't self-disqualify. If you meet 60%, then go ahead and apply. Leave yourself room for growth, okay? If you are coming in at 100% of the qualifications, you might be overqualified for that job. What learning are you gonna get out of that? Leave yourself room to grow, okay? So again, one of the most important things that I want you to take away from risk-taking is risk is essential. It is not optional when you're advancing your career. You have to be able to take risks, no matter how big and how small. Just make sure they're calculated. Be intentional with them. And remember, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Okay, to wrap things up, I just wanted to leave you with another quote here and say, the human capacity for burden is like bamboo, okay? Far more flexible than you'd ever believe at first glance. And I think that's so true. Resiliency really speaks to the whole idea of this. Think of trees, think of bamboo. Bend, don't break. If you can bolster yourself with these kind of 5 core traits, you are setting yourself up for success, not just now in your search, but in your future. Think about yourself in that way. Think about the long term. How are these going to get you to the next step? Because that's all that this is about, is it's moving to the next step. Okay. So that is my chat for today, and I want to just say thank you so much again for coming and hanging out with me and listening to my ideas about resiliency and how I think it can benefit you. I've put up some of my contact information there, so please feel free to reach out. I would love to interact with all of you. And again, just thank you so much. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, but in case there are any questions, I will pop that up. So let's take a look. Okay, David Reynolds, I have a philosophy about being curious and lifelong learning when speaking to today's young people. Always be curious, always be learning, never be afraid to ask questions of your colleagues, your peers, and your mentors. David, I couldn't have said it better myself. I couldn't agree more. I think that's so powerful. You never know if you don't try. Why hold yourself back from opportunity, right? Why hold yourself back? So again, I just want to say thank you so much. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat or, oh, I see one coming in. So Sam DT, Could taking a survival job hurt my professional growth? I have 9+ years in project management, managing multi-million projects, but nothing's worked yet. No, Sam, again, it's all the way that you position yourself in your journey. This is your journey, and it's your narrative to tell. So you get to decide what other people know about you. You get to decide what story you want to tell and how you want to frame things. It really comes down to positioning. And you know what? I think right now, because of the situation we're in this global pandemic, my hope is that employers are more understanding of the situation that people are going through right now, and understanding that being laid off does not mean that you were a bad employee or that there was some fault with you. It is the situation, and that just is what it is. But taking a survival job, again, that shows to me grit. That shows to me that you are doing what you need to do to continue moving forward. And like I said, there are lessons in everything that you do. Maybe you're taking something a little bit lower level than you were doing before. Maybe that's humbling experience, and how does that help change you? How does that shape the way you move forward? And I think always taking challenges, looking with that forward-facing lens, is going to be helpful in that situation. So Sam, I hope that I answered your question. If you have any follow-up questions, I'm happy to shoot me an email. I'd love to chat with you about it a little bit more, and maybe see how we can chat about your strategy and your search, because it sounds like you've been doing some big work, and I'd love to try to help you out there. Perfect. Awesome. Are there any other questions? Feel free to jump in there. Perfect. Oh, thanks so much, David. And thank you so much, Valerie. I appreciate all of your comments. It's really wonderful to see you. Otherwise, I think if there's no other questions, I'm happy to wrap it up here so we can head on over to that panel that's happening a little bit later. And feel free to jump in the mic if you want. You don't have to chat.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thanks. I just want to jump on and say thanks for your presentation. It was really great. Lots of great information.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did see that you had your contact info up on the slides, but do you maybe want to pop them in chat as well, just so people can save the link? Awesome.
Absolutely. I'll put my email in there.
Great. And I'll just take a quick look at chat here, just make sure we didn't miss any questions.
Awesome.
But I think you got all of them. Yeah, it looks like it. Awesome.
Okay.
Great. And if people do reach out to you, what's the best way? Should they go through email or LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn, email. I'll put my LinkedIn in the chat as well.
Awesome.
Either way, I'm active in both. I'm also on Instagram, so I'll put that handle in there.
Awesome. Can be reached everywhere.
Okay, yeah, I'm everywhere. Really hope to meet some of you. I'd love to know a little bit more about your stories and what's been going on, and just get to know you. It's my favorite thing.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Sarah, and thanks everyone for attending today. So our panel is actually live. It just started about 3 or 4 minutes ago. But yeah, thanks again, Sarah. It was a really great presentation.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you, everyone. I'll see you in the panel chat in a few minutes.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks, Alex. Bye.